So I'm Rochelle Haiti. I work for the benefits department here for the district, and we also have the infamous Doug from MTI. And we're going to spend the next bit of time talking about what it's like when you retire through the school district. So we learned a lot about Medicare, we learned a lot about WRS. Now we're going to learn about what happens to us when we're ready to take that next step. And Doug and I are going to tag team this a little bit, and then hang tight for the end, and we'll be able to kind of walk around and answer your individual questions as well. We're going to talk a whole lot about your pension, about Social Security, your personal savings, and then we're also going to talk about the accumulated benefits that you have. So a lot of this might be just a high-level overview and repeat of some of the things you already learned, but it helps set the groundwork about what's going to happen through the school district.
All right. Okay, I'm going to have to just hunch over here. So by the time we're done, I might need a hand getting out to my car when we're done. But I want to start out by just thanking all of you for the work that you do. All right. Whenever I have a chance to speak in front of any educators, any school district employees, just starting out with a word of thanks for all the work you do, and also for attending this tonight. I know this is a tough week for people. Frankly, it's hard not to find a tough week right now, right? But I know parent-teacher conferences, grading, November is a real challenge. So thanks for being here tonight, and I think we're looking at trying to get everyone out of here by 7:30? 7:15? 7:15, all right? So that's what we're looking at here. So we're going to as Rochelle said, we're going to talk through some of this stuff that you need to have when you're considering retirement options. And we're going to start with just kind of a brief review from what you just heard, right? You just got a good in-depth information from the Wisconsin retirement system. Going to hit a couple bullets before we move on to other things. So requesting an estimate from WRS, you heard that if you're within a year, you can request that, right? In fact, anyone who's even contemplating possibly retiring, you want to request that now if you think about retiring at the end of the school year, right? You heard it might take 2 to 3 months to get you that estimate. You want to request that information now. Requesting the estimate doesn't commit you to retire. If you decide not to retire this year, next year you request a new estimate, right? You can do that once a year once you get within a year of retirement. For people who want to take a look at what benefits might be more than a year, right? ETF is great when you're within a year of retirement, but if you're 50 or 51 and you want to start doing some estimates and trying to get a sense of when you want to retire, they can't help you then, right? So what you can do is that annual statement that you receive in the spring, that you kind of got that explanation about, that information gives you all the data you need to plug into the calculator on the website to run your own estimates. And you can do that using the ETF website that was referred to before. Each time you get that annual statement, you can do an update on that. We also have people who can help you do that, right? Folks here in the district, any district employee can go down and meet with Rochelle when she helps people with these. I think this is like monthly meetings that you do, correct? It's kind of hard to see her when I'm facing you folks. MTI members also have the ability to contact us. We have a gentleman named Steve Pike, a retired teacher who now works for WA Member Benefits, and he does individual counselings. So there's plenty of folks who can help you if you want to kind of get an idea, how many more years do I have in front of me until you hit 54 and you can start going through ETF, right? So the website calculator, great for estimating those retirement benefits. Within your packet, for people who just want to do this paper and pencil, you can calculate retirement benefits in a booklet in your packet. And like I said, MTI members, the worksite meetings. So quick takeaways, what people heard, right? The earliest you can retire and have access to the state retirement system is age 55. Hopefully they did not dramatically disappoint any 45-year-olds in attendance, but that is the earliest you can access your state retirement benefits. In a bit, Rochelle and I are also going to talk about district benefits and ages and qualifying events for those, right? But WRS at least age 55. Age, years of service, both of those impact your salary amount. The older you are, the longer you work, the higher your benefits, right? Kind of got that from the previous session. Multiple annuity options. So when you retire, you have multiple choices you can use to select which one is best for you, which one is best for your family and your survivors, right? And again, to reiterate, it's a lifetime benefit. This retirement system is a rock-solid retirement system. It's probably one of the top retirement systems we have. They have $98 billion of assets, and they are fully funded. This is not a retirement system in crisis, right? This is a very significant benefit, and we have fought and we will continue to fight to keep that benefit. So rest assured, that's something that's there for you. So 75-day rule, I think you heard that at the end. Anyone who wants to leave and come back to work, you have to wait to 75 days. Again, anyone contemplating retirement, it's probably hard for you to imagine a day where you'd want to come back after you retire. But we really hope that a number of you are willing to consider that in a substitute capacity. Definitely need substitute teachers, we need substitute SEAs, we need substitute clerical folks, and frankly, a pool of experienced people who are willing to substitute is desperately needed, as I think everyone here recognizes. So after 75 days, you can contemplate doing that. Return to work restrictions, you heard those before too, not being able to work more than 2/3 of full-time without affecting your benefits. You know, frankly, I think that's a boneheaded rule that I'd like to see they get rid of that so that we could bring back more people to work substitute teaching, but for now, this is the rule that we have. And then beneficiaries, make sure your form's up to date. She did a great job of covering that, right? So those are the quick bullets from the WRS, and now, so you don't get tired of hearing from me, I flip it back to Rochelle.
Thank you. All right, so WRS is income. Social Security is also income, and there's different limits or different ages on when you can start pulling your Social Security. You can start pulling it as early as 62. And talking about WRS, you could start that or do that accelerated benefit with WRS, and that WRS benefit drops when you turn 62 so that you can start collecting Social Security at 62. So there's an offset there. But there's also perks if you hold off on Social Security until a later age. You will want to wait or think about waiting till your full Social Security retirement age, and that's in that little blue chart. And what that does is it allows you to collect 100% of your Social Security benefit, and it also doesn't have any limits for income. If you start collecting Social Security before your full Social Security retirement age, and you are working, you can't earn more than about $18,000 in any given year, or else your Social Security benefit is reduced. So that full Social Security retirement age kind of gives you the greater amount for Social Security and allows you to continue to work and not have to worry about income limits. You can also wait and pull Social Security after that full Social Security retirement age. You can wait until up to the age of 70. There's a benefit to that too. If you start pulling it at 70, you get about 124% of your full Social Security benefit instead of that 100%. So it's kind of a budgeting game and kind of a game that you're going to play to see how long you're going to live. Some folks might start pulling Social Security at 62 because you need the income, or you know you're going to or may live a short life and you want to start collecting what you've paid in. Others might say, I'm fine with the income piece. I know I'm going to live a long life. I want to wait until my full Social Security retirement age, or even after that, to maximize that total benefit that I'm going to get over the course of my lifetime. There's a great website, Social Security's website, that you can go to. There's a calculator out there. In the past, you used to get these annual statements sent to your home with all sorts of personal information that you just don't want the world seeing. Now you can go to their website and get that information. And shockingly, Social Security knows a whole lot about you. So when you go to their website, they're going to ask you for your Social Security number, your birth date, your mother's maiden name, and the county or state that you were born in. And it will know all of that and then actually provide you what your benefit would look like throughout that time, 62, 67, and 70. You can go out there whenever you want to do that. You can go out there for your spouse to gather their information if you know all those secret password questions as well. But that's a really good place to start. When you're ready to pull Social Security, you'll want to go to the Social Security office. You can give them a call, but I've learned that no matter what day or time of day you call them, you're going to be on hold for at least an hour. So you might be better off stopping down at the office if you have time, as they'll service you a whole lot quicker. When you're ready to pull Social Security, there's a couple of things that you have to think about. They talk about quarters or credits. To get Social Security, you have to have worked at least 10 years in your lifetime. They talk about 40 quarters, and that comes out to 10 years. The benefit is based on your salary and your age. There's hundreds of ways to calculate it, and again, check out their website. That's really the best place to go to get the information that you need. And with that, we're going to hand it back over to Doug. Oh, I am. I'm skipping over stuff. Sorry. We don't want to get done that early, do we? All right, so the other piece of the puzzle is other income, right? So WRS is income, Social Security is income, but there's other pieces that you should consider when you're retiring. Look at your personal savings accounts. How much have you saved? How much do you want to tap into that now versus later? Also think about 403Bs. That's money that you can set aside pre-tax or post-tax through the school district. It's kind of like a 401k for the private sector. If you're not setting money aside in a 403B, start now. It's never too late to start. That's another savings vehicle that gives you access to retirement funds. IRAs are another great way to think about saving for retirement. And once you retire, they're also a really nice savings vehicle. If you have a 403B through the school district and you retire, your ability to pull that money out of that 403B becomes complicated. Every time you want to pull that money out, I have to sign a form for it. So your access to money is just it takes multiple steps. So a lot of folks say when they retire, they're going to take their 403B and move it to an IRA at the time of retirement or after that point, because then you have easy access to your funds and you can manage those funds a whole lot quicker and faster than coming and getting my signature once a month or once a year for your money. That's something that I would say talk to your financial planner about, along with what you should be putting in for a 403B, along with other savings options. You want to make sure you're covered holistically for your finances, rather than just relying off of your pension and your Social Security, because that is not enough for many people. And with that, we'll turn it over to Doug.
So we've talked about Wisconsin retirement system, Social Security. Rochelle briefly touched on 403Bs and other investments. The next piece that we're going to transition into, which is another big economic consideration when you're looking at potential retirement, is insurance, right? So we're going to talk about some benefits that you get through the school district. These are benefits that were originally bargained through collective bargaining agreements when we had those, but they're benefits that continue through this day through the employee handbook. So we're going to talk about sick leave, insurance continuation options for teachers. We'll touch on TERP near the end. So, not surprisingly here, the retirement date in the school district is similar to WRS, 55, right? So 55 is the age you need to be in order to retire from the school district. You need to be eligible for Social Security, retirement, WRS benefits, sorts of things when you retire. Everyone typically is at age 55. And then there's service requirements depending on your position in the school district. So food service, educational assistants, SEAs, security assistants, substitute teachers. There's a requirement that you work for the district for 10 years in order to get your accumulated sick leave that helps pay for your insurance benefits post-retirement, right? Anyone who's not in that category, age 55, you're eligible for those benefits, okay? So age 55 is when you can retire from the school district and have access to these benefits. Now for teachers, works a little bit differently. It's at least age 55. And then for people who also want to receive the TERP benefit, which we'll talk about near the end of this, there's another qualifier where you need to have age plus years worked in Madison equal to 75, right? Age plus years worked in the MMSD equal to 75. So for a teacher to retire with TERP, you need to be at least age 55 with 20 years of service. 55 plus 20 gets you to 75. Or you could be age 57 with 18 years of service, right? You can see how that math works. So for TERP eligibility, age plus years equal to 75. It's possible for a teacher to retire with TERP at age 54, but only if they have 30 years in the school district. And recall, you can't touch your WRS benefit till age 55. So it's not a very practical option, but that's there. And then in order to get TERP, it's required that you work full-time within the last 10 years. Okay, so for teachers who are retiring with TERP, you need to have worked full-time within the last 10 years. Now, I'm switching it back to Rochelle to talk about insurance costs, and then we're going to talk about sick leave, and you can start getting an idea, how long you will have paid insurance once you retire, which is one of the major considerations most people have in determining, is it this year, is it 2 years from now?
All right, so insurance. When you retire through the school district, if you have our insurance prior to retirement, you can continue your retirement with our district insurance. But there are some things that break it out. Health insurance. You can continue your health insurance through us until you turn 65 and or your spouse turns 65. At that point, Medicare kicks in, and we can help you through that transition and help you get on a Medicare supplement plan. Now, if you have kiddos that you're still covering when you retire, you can continue them under your plan as well, and they will drop off when they normally do, either when they get a job or they turn 26. Dental insurance you can continue for the rest of your life, forever and ever and ever. But there's a really good question built into that, and that is, how long are you going to have teeth? And how long will you need dental care, right? At some point, you might have all crowns or no teeth, and then you don't need dental insurance. So we say continue your dental insurance for a while, get settled into retirement, and then talk to your dentist about when the best time is to maybe switch off of the dental insurance, because it's cheaper just to pay your dentist out of pocket for maybe your semi-annual cleaning than it is to continue to pay for dental insurance coverage. The other one is life insurance. We have two different types of life insurances through the school district. One is something called Basic Plus Retirement Life Insurance. And if you have that, you would see it on your paycheck. That coverage continues into retirement. So if you have life insurance, you can continue it. When you retire, the premium has to be paid until you turn 65. Once you turn 65, that policy becomes paid in full. So after 65, you don't have to pay a premium, but it will always pay out a benefit to your family members. It reduces over time, but there's always a benefit. So that's that basic life plus retirement. If you have supplemental coverage, you can continue that supplemental coverage till you turn 65 as well. But at 65, it ends. It turns into a term life policy. Things to think about with life insurance, similar to teeth, at some point, you may not need life insurance. Think about when you took life insurance out. You were maybe younger, you had a mortgage, you had kiddos, and you were protecting your family if something were to happen to you. Retirement is another time to stop and think about what that life insurance is for. Is it a burial benefit and you don't have money set aside? Then maybe you need the life insurance policy. Do you have kiddos that you need to support? Yes or no? Do you have a mortgage that needs to get paid if you were to pass away? Yes or no? Those are all things that you want to think about. And also if you have other coverage, that's another key. Do not over-insure yourself. You may not need $1 million of coverage when you're 72 years old. You may need that at a different point in your life, but maybe not at that point. Things that don't continue when you retire are flex spending accounts. So know that your flexible spending that you have set up through the school district ends the month in which you retire. So use all of that money that you can before your retirement date. There is no benefit to leaving that money there, and you can't really continue it very easily. Vision insurance also ends when you retire. So we have vision insurance that buys glasses. Get your glasses before you retire. Get your contacts before you retire. Use that benefit because you've paid for it. But then once you retire, that benefit ends. And then disability insurance. If you have long-term disability through the school district or short-term disability through the school district, know that that coverage ends as well. The other thing to think about with insurance is, do you continue it with us or do you continue it with a spouse? If your spouse is still working when you retire, I strongly suggest you do a little research to figure out what your spouse's benefits are. It is more cost-effective to save the money that you've earned through the school district and go on your spouse's plan if they're still working. Continue on your spouse's plan and save that money through us. When your spouse retires, then you can come back and access that money through us. It might seem odd, and you might even feel like their coverage isn't as good as ours, but when we look at the premiums, it pays off. Family coverage is thousands of dollars a month, tens of thousands of dollars a year. You might be better off going to your spouse's plan, having them pay a little more out of their paycheck, maybe even having a deductible, than spending this amount of money on insurance coverage. Start talking to your spouse's employer now about it rather than closer to retirement. Retirement's a very stressful time, right? And I want to make sure you understand everything that you're going into, including the benefits that you can get elsewhere. We have a whole bunch of resources that are available to you to help you with that insurance transition. I'm here and help a lot of retirees through this process. We also have M3, who came and talked earlier today about Medicare. They do this at no cost to the school district employees. So when you're getting to the point of Medicare age, retired and 65, reach out to M3. They will help you get over the hump of Medicare. There's also another really great resource in Dane County and all of the other counties in the state. It's the Aging and Disability Resource Center, so ADRC. In Dane County, they're located in Madison off of Sherman and Northport, so kind of on the north side of town. They help with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and all of those other government plans. They're fabulous. If you're also working through aging parents that have those needs, use them for that as well. They will come to you to help you through that transition. And with that, we're back to Doug.
All right, so before I start talking about the retirement insurance sick leave options, just for people to know here, for teachers, there's a gray packet. For MTI members who are hourly employees, there's a pink packet. Everything I'm talking about is going to be in that packet. You could run your own calculations. So still try to pay attention to what I'm saying, but everything we're going to talk about is in this information, all right? So insurance continuation. Everybody here, if you are at least 55 when you retire, you're going to have some amount of sick leave that you've built up since you started working for the school district. So when you retire, that total accrued sick leave is turned into a pot of money that you can use to pay for post-retirement insurance benefits, right? That's your reward for that's your reward for being healthy. So how that works is, if you're an hourly employee, it's pretty straightforward. You take a look at your last paycheck, you take your hourly wage, you multiply the number of hours of sick leave you have, and that's going to be your total pot of money to help pay for post-retirement insurances. If you're a teacher, it's a little bit more complicated. There you take your highest annual contract from the school district, you divide that by 192. That gives you a daily rate of pay. It's in this gray packet. But that daily rate of pay is then multiplied by the number of sick days you have, right? So hourly employees accrue sick leave in hours, teachers accrue sick leave in days. So when you retire, the total amount of sick leave you have accrued is calculated, and that presents a pot of money that can be used to pay for post-retirement insurance. That is not money you have the access to cash out, right? The only option you have with that is to spend that on insurance. But it's a great option to have. It's an important option to have.
Is there a limited amount of hours or total? Are they like you get to 1,000 hours and then you don't get anything after that?
Yep. Good question. So I'm going to flip back to this first calculation. There are limits. So you get 100% of the value for the first 200 days if you're a teacher. For hourly employees, that'd be, what, 1,600 hours? You get 100% of that. Anything you've accrued beyond those maximums, you get 50% of their value. All right? So there's no top-out maximum where you don't get anything after that, but you get 100% of the value of the first 200 days or 1,600 hours, 50% of the value after that.
So hourly employees, 1,600 hours?
Yep. All right, so when you retire, you have some options what to do with that pot of money, okay? And one of the options you have is deciding whether or not you want to have what's called an escrow account, or whether you want to move it to what's called a health reimbursement account, an HRA. So escrow account, HRA. We're going to talk a little bit about what the differences are, the benefits, the drawbacks of either of those. Both of those accounts can be used to pay for post-employment retirement benefits. So the escrow account, that's really an account where your money stays with the school district, and you can use that to continue any district-provided insurance you have, right? So that'd be your health insurance, that's your life insurance, dental insurance. You could use that to buy a Medicare Part B supplemental plan that you heard. For those of you who are in the Medicare section, people kind of talked a little bit about Medicare. You can purchase a Medicare supplement account, and you can use your escrow account to help pay for that. That's also an account where that will continue to pay your insurance should you decide to return to work following retirement and, for example, work as a substitute teacher or substitute SEA. You can continue to have your health insurance paid from that escrow account. You can use it to pay for life insurance premiums. Okay? One of the limits of that account is you can only use that for school district benefits and Medicare supplements purchased through vendors that do business with the school district. So right now that's Dean, GHC, and WPS, right? So those are the three HMO supplementary plans you could use that escrow account for. So the HRA, a little bit different in that same dollar amount is put in this health reimbursement account, and there you can use it to pay for district-provided coverage, and I'll say an exception a little bit, for most district-provided coverage. But you can also use that to pay for non-district provided coverage. Okay, so that could include a Medicare B supplemental plan not through the school district. Maybe you find one through AARP or some other group that you think is better. You could use your money through this HRA to buy that Medicare supplement plan. Maybe you're going to be leaving the state of Wisconsin and moving someplace else. And rather than having a Medicare supplement through GHC or Dean, which is a Madison HMO area, you'd want to purchase a Medicare supplement in Arizona. You could use your HRA money to help pay for that Medicare supplement, right? The escrow account cannot be used for anything other than district coverage, right? So HRA, portable, can use it for other plans. One of the downsides with it, you cannot use that while you're working, right? So if you decide that you want to come back and work as a substitute teacher, you cannot have your HRA account pay your health insurance premiums while you substitute teach.
Only for reimbursement. Catch that? Only for reimbursement. So.
Yeah. So I mean, really, you can't. I mean, you could pay out a cash. You could pay out a cash to continue your insurance, but you cannot use your HRA account to reimburse you for that. Okay. So essentially, you cannot use your HRA account to pay for your insurance after you return to work as a substitute. So there's a limitation there for people who are planning on retiring and thinking you might want to come back to work as a substitute. The other limitation, you can't use it for life insurance, right? You could use it for health and dental insurance, not for life insurance for some strange tax-related reason. But life insurance, you could just pay out of pocket rather than having that come out of the HRA. So when we meet with most people tend to choose the HRA option because of the flexibility to use it for more plans later on. But it's important to be aware of those limitations if you're thinking about coming back to work for the district in another capacity, right? That's something that you'd want to think about. Can I turn it back to Rochelle to talk a little bit about ARP?
You can hang up here if you want. it's quick. Oh, yes.
So if you retire, you put your money in the HRA and you die, so what happens with that HRA?
Yes. So if you were to pass away, that HRA money goes to your spouse, and your spouse can use it to pay for their insurance. It's not lost, but it cannot be cashed out.
If you come back to work like as a substitute, are you eligible for still using the escrow plan?
You can only elect the HRA or the escrow once, and you're locked into it for life. Like Doug was saying, you can't use the HRA in work if you're being reimbursed for coverage, but if you're on the DEAN plan or the GHC plan or the WPS plan, you can still have that HRA account and we will pay those premiums. But if you have a Medicare plan and we're reimbursing you for it, then we cannot reimburse you out of that HRA until you stop working again. Normally, it doesn't happen very often that we're reimbursing someone and they're working for us because they normally still have like our local insurance. So it's a very rare situation that it ever comes out where we actually stop it.
Okay. I learned something tonight, right? So you guys got that? So if you got the DEAN or GHC plan, you take the HRA route, you can come back to work as a substitute capacity and you'd still have it paid,
Yeah.
okay?
We're going to go quickly on ARP. So we're going to jump around a little bit for benefits that are available to certain individuals. So ARP is available to our retirees who are administrators, the Administrator Retirement Program. ARP is available to administrators who have worked for the district at least 7 years as an administrator and then contributed to their 403B for a total of 12 years. I said that backwards. Contributing for 12 years, I'm still not saying it right. Working for 12 years, contributing for 7. Thank you. Working for 12 years, contributing for 7. If you are an administrator and you're eligible for ARP, you would receive a letter from me annually about that. And when you're ready to retire, we can talk further about what that ARP contribution looks like just for you.
All right, this is a slide that everybody's interested in, right? The when should I retire slide. There's probably some of you in this room that are thinking, you know, June of 2018 would have been really good. There's probably a few more that are thinking maybe June 2019, and there might be some that are saying, oh my God, can I hang on another 5 to 10 years when I can do this? But, you know, things to consider as you approach that, you know, the obvious ones need to be at least age 55, right? We all got that, that's drilled into your head. But then, you know, the other determinants are things like, you know, what will my pension look like if I work 2 more years, right? You heard our presenter from ETF say, you know, age 57 with 30 years is significant and that there's no age reduction factor applied. So maybe it makes sense to work till 57. If you work till 59, the benefits look a little bit better still, right? You work till age 62. We know that you would be eligible for reduced Social Security at 62 if you wanted to. If you work till 65, 66, you'd be eligible for unreduced Social Security, right? So you can see there's lots of different factors here that can determine how your benefits could vary year to year. So when should you retire? It's really going to be dependent on your personal situation. And the best way to prepare for that, as we talked about, is to kind of gather information along the way, take advantage of the people who are there to help you think through this. But, you know, looking at the WRS, we obviously got that. Social Security, as I said, 62 is the earliest you could take it. Full benefits would be later. As Rochelle mentioned, with 403B plans, if you have those investments, typically you can start accessing those at age 59 and a half. Something else to put on your radar screen if that's going to be relevant to you. But I'll tell you, for most people we meet with, the insurance tends to be the big thing, right? You saw the insurance rates that Rochelle put on there. The cheapest plan, the GHC HMO, is $500 per month single. If you're providing coverage for you and a spouse, it's $1,000 a month. Even if you have a lot of sick leave accrued, let's say you got $30,000, $40,000 of sick leave, which sounds like a lot of money, at $1,000 per month, right, that's 2.5 to 3.5 years of paid insurance coverage. So You know, these estimates about how long will I have paid health care is a significant factor. You'll want to continue your group coverage up until 65, because Medicare doesn't begin until age 65. And then for those of you who have money left at age 65, you can use anything you have left in your sick leave, your escrow account, your HRA, to pay for those Medicare supplements after age 65, right? So how long will I have paid insurance tends to be a major factor that drive retirement decisions. So again, what can you do leading up to this? Well, Rochelle has monthly meetings where she's available to discuss individual retirement info. You can set that up through the school district. You definitely will need to meet with her before you retire. She's going to go over all your forms, calculate how much sick leave you have. If you're a teacher, she'll calculate your TERP benefits too. You'll fill out health insurance forms when you meet with her. You know, annually you can request an estimate from her department about the value of your sick leave account. What we're referring to here is your retirement insurance account. And if you're an MTI member, take advantage of some of those planning seminars we have. We do those regularly throughout the year, group seminars, or schedule an individual meeting with Steve. He'll go through the insurance, the WRS, and all that stuff, right? My recommendation is that you hear it from as many different people as possible. You know, if you can meet with Steve, great. Meet with Rochelle, great. Talk to ETF once again within 1 year. The more people you hear from, the more comfortable you're going to get, and the more ways you're going to kind of hear information differently. Our goal is when you're approaching retirement that you're going to be fired up and psyched about this and not scared and tentative and worried about what this means, right? And you got people to help you get there. Timeline, I guess this is going back to Rochelle.
We have some tight deadlines that we need to stick with when we retire. Administrators, we really need your retirements in by January 15th. Teachers, pay attention. February 15th is the deadline. Okay, you have to have your retirement notice in to us by the end of the day on February 15th. At that point, you're locked in. You can't retire after that point. But what I can say is it's a pretty big decision and it feels like it's early on in the year and it's kind of scary. So if you turn in your retirement notice to me before February 15th, I guarantee it goes in a locked cabinet and I forget about it until the 15th. We don't tell others that you're retiring until we have to tell others that we're retiring. So know that it's done confidentially, it's done personally, and you get to tell your story on when you want to tell others when it's going to happen. Question? Yeah. In the past, we made you write a biography on why you're retiring through the school district. We don't require that anymore. It's a one-page form. And so when you meet with me, when we do that retirement consultation, it's the one form that we'll have you fill out. It goes with the TERP and the insurance stuff. You can find it on our website if you want to turn it in. Just search for the separation form. It's kind of a not so nice term. You're separating. But we know that you're retiring because we can check out your age and your years of service. And then turn that into us. Don't give it to your principal. Don't give it to your supervisor. Just return it directly back to Human Resources and we will get it in the right spot. 7 to 10 months before you decide to retire, you're going to want to contact WRS to get your estimate. You're also going to want to reach out to Social Security to figure out what your benefit is going to be through them if you want to start pulling your Social Security at that point. You want to meet with HR during this time frame, and also the other big thing is to focus on Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare Part A, B, and D. Those are big deals that you want to have done about 3 months before you retire.
Clarification, you said your teacher you can't retire out of February.
Yes.
Are you referring to you can't retire period and
Oh, good question. Yes. Good question. So if you were to put your retirement notice in after February 15th and a teacher, you forfeit TERP. You can still collect your retirement insurance account, but you forfeit TERP. That February 15th is imperative that that time is turned in. Otherwise, you get to work a whole nother year with us, which we would love. I'm not sure you would be very happy about it. Thank you. All right, we're going to skip over questions and move right on.
All right. So we promised you 7:15. It might be 7:18, okay? But very quickly, we will finish here. So this is the last piece. This is going to be TERP for teachers. To confirm, TERP is still a benefit that teachers are eligible for. That continues through this school year. That continues through next school year, right? We go year by year on TERP, but we get this agreed to a year in advance so that you folks know that TERP will be here at the end of this school year and at least at the end of the next school year. TERP, in order to be eligible for it, I mentioned it before, age plus years of service in Madison equal to 75, okay? For TERP calculation, part-time year counts the same as a full-time year. A year you worked as an EA before you became a teacher or a substitute before you became a teacher, those also count as a year of service when we're calculating TERP eligibility. Age, it's your age as of August 30th, the year you retire. So the person who turns 55 in October, you're out of luck, right, for the TERP, but it's your age as August 30th, the year you retire, in order to meet that TERP calculation, right? You have to work full-time at least 1 year within the past 10 years, okay? Now, what does TERP mean? Well, if you're eligible for it, what TERP gives you is 19% of your highest contractual salary per year for 3 years, okay? 19% of your highest contractual salary per year for 3 years, that's a total payment. It's paid out as a monthly benefit. That TERP benefit can be taken as cash, in which case it's fully taxable. You would add that to your WRS monthly annuity for income. Or you could choose to use TERP to pay for various insurance benefits, in which case it is non-taxable. Most people use it in that fashion, okay? But you'll have some options what to do with that. So that is then a way to really extend how long you'd have the paid insurance coverage. So age 55, age plus years worked in Madison equal to 75. That's the eligibility criteria. 19% per year for 3 years is the amount that you get paid. If you want to run your own calculation, it's all in the gray packet. Just enter your numbers, follow the calculation, and you'll be able to see how much that dollar amount is. Right, so I think we covered the escrow account and the HRA, right? And what is this? 717. So, questions, opening up to questions. Yes?
Rachel, when are you available for meetings? Are you located in this building?
Yep, so I am available for meetings. I am located in Doyle in the Human Resources Department. The monthly meetings that were talked about are really kind of the next step that you'll want to go to. They're small group retirement meetings. They're usually the second Tuesday of every month. Second Monday of every month from 3:30 until about 5:30. So it's early release Mondays. If you can't make it to that meeting because of your work schedule, let me know and we can do a one-on-one individual consult. What I like about the group meetings, there's usually 5 to 10 people that come, and the interaction between those in those conversations really gets our brain juices flowing, and we get really good conversations and talking points that maybe you've never thought about before. So I would say come to one of those.
What if you bring a sign all of our paperwork?
Come to that meeting still, because we go over all of that paperwork and we fill it out right then and there.
At those meetings, you'll have it, if you sign up for one of those, you have all your information.
How do you sign up for those?
They are on the district website. So if you're computer savvy, go to the district website, go to the Human Resources Department, click Benefits, and then click Retirement, and you'll see the sign up right on there. If you're not computer savvy, I can write your name down after this and we can find some time. Yes?
I have one more question about, so at retirement, do we get an option to switch from, say, point of service to a like, I want to carry my point of service, GHC, as long as I can, but then I don't want to pay for that extra stuff eventually?
Yeah.
Or do I have to wait until the October to November window?
No, retiring is what we call a qualifying life event, which allows you to change your insurance through the district or enroll in a spouse's insurance somewhere else.
It's a good question. You used to have to wait to the open enrollment, right?
Yeah.
But now the qualifying event is when you retire, so you can make that change then.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, if you go to the MMSD website and search retirement, you'll find the link to sign up. It's the second one.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? We're going to hang out down here if any individuals want to talk. Otherwise, thanks for coming. Thanks for your work.
you.